Hi, I'm Clifton Warren, and welcome to the Top Producer Podcast. In our last episode, I discussed what I call the continuation process. That is a structured approach to developing relationships over time rather than leaving them to chance. So today I want to build on that idea by asking a very simple question. Where should you invest your time? Where should your people be investing their time? Because while every client deserves professionalism and excellent service, not every client or prospect requires the same level of commercial attention. And understanding that distinction is one of the foundations of sustainable growth, regardless of the market, regardless of the economy. One of the biggest mistakes I see is that firms try to treat every opportunity equally. Every client receives the same attention. Every prospect is pursued with the same enthusiasm. Every account is managed in much the same way. Now, on the surface, that sounds fair, but commercially, it rarely makes sense because time is limited. Your people are limited. Your resources are limited, which means every hour you spend on one account is an hour you cannot spend somewhere else. And that is why one of my favorite sayings is time is your most limited growth resource. Now, commercial growth architecture is built around making deliberate choices, not emotional choices, not reactive choices, but deliberate choices. And that begins with understanding which relationships have the greatest strategic importance to your business. Some clients provide significant revenue today. Others may be relatively small today, but have tremendous growth potential. And some introduce you to new markets. Some become exceptional referral sources. And others may require significant effort but offer very little opportunity for future growth. These are very different relationships. And why would you manage those in exactly the same way? This is where account classification becomes so valuable. Every firm should have a simple framework for identifying where to focus its commercial energy. Now, you might classify accounts as A, B, and C, or platinum, gold, or silver. The label doesn't matter, but the thinking does. What you're asking is questions like which clients represent our greatest long term opportunity? Which relationships deserve proactive account development? Which clients require a tailored growth plan? And where should our senior people invest their time? See, without this clarity, your business can drift. Things become reactive. You respond to whoever shouts the loudest or whatever issue arrives first, instead of intentionally investing in the relationships that will shape the future of your business. Here's another principle worth remembering: focus drives growth, spread dilutes it. So many firms are simply spread too thin. They're trying to be everything to everyone, serving every client in exactly the same way, attending to every opportunity, responding to every request with the same urgency, and the results are predictable: average effort, average outcome, average growth. Commercial growth architecture encourages exactly the opposite. It asks you to focus your best thinking, where your best people, your greatest effort, and where will it create the greatest long term value. Now, I want to be very clear. Account classification is not about providing poor service to smaller clients. Every client deserves respect. Every client deserves professionalism. But commercial attention should reflect commercial opportunity. Growth requires prioritization, and prioritization requires discipline. So think about your own portfolio for a second. If you were only allowed to personally invest time in 20 accounts over the next 12 months, which 20 would you choose? That question alone often reveals whether your current priorities are aligned with your growth ambitions. So here's my challenge for you: review your client portfolio. Ask yourself, do we really know which relationships will shape the future of our business? Or are we simply treating everyone the same because it's easier, or that's all we know? We don't know any differently. Because one of the fundamental principles of commercial growth architecture is this: you don't grow what you don't prioritize. And another: focus drives growth, spread dilutes it. I'm Clifton Warren. Thanks for listening.